So I was recording this video and then I realized that my phone had been stopped recording. So, to start this over and just try to get to the point sooner, we all know that, one, we're in the judgment dispensation. We have been since like the beginning of this year, maybe somewhat last year. And we all know that, was it the pale horse or I don't know why I start forgetting this stuff when I start recording. But I think it was the pale horse, or maybe it was the black one, but was it oh my gosh. Anywho, we know that the horseman of death has been rided out, and things are about to start going downhill. We already know that America, or at least I hope we know, that America / Babylon is fallen. It's been fallen, but like, now we're really there. And things are about to start going down within the next couple months. My stomach is making a lot of noises, so if you hear it, ignore it. Where was I going? So for one, the fake election thing, we know, hopefully we all know that Trump is elect. Well, I don't even know if I should start there. Maybe I should go back a little bit. So we already know that the people in left-right mind herding have both been brainwashed to think that they're going to lose their rights and that the other side is going to take away their rights. Even though votes aren't real, both wings are on the same bird. They're all puppets to push an agenda. But really, everybody's rights are going to be taken away in the end once we really start rolling into the communist beast system anyway. And it's not going to be really because of a left-right thing. Because, I mean, it's really not real. The left-right paradigm really isn't real. But I guess now I could like roll into the whole fake election thing. So, Trump's the elect, but of course, they just have him right there, so that way when they push Kamala out, it can cause more uproar, because they're going to take Trump out in whatever way. And then they're going to push out Kamala, and then of course that's going to lead to this divide and conquer civil RAW spelled backwards that they've been pushing for a long time, especially with all these racial hoopings, quote unquote. I like to call them hoopings because the other word will probably get me flagged, but these racial hoopings that happen like every couple of years that cause uproar, and they're done by Freemason families who are offering up themselves or a relative to be taken out by a police officer so they can cause a whole bunch of racial uproar. And it's honestly so annoying to me because, I mean, for one, most people don't even know what a race is. People don't know what real racism is. They honestly don't care. So much I could say about that. People don't even know who their real enemy is. And I could just keep going on and on about that. But you're never going to hear about any real racist stuff that happens. I'll say that. And try to leave it at that. So yeah, they do these racial hoopings to get people in uproar and have a whole bunch of people run out to these protests where the white savior liberals go and throw grenades everywhere and get everybody what could I call it, quote unquote, hooped up by the police during these protests. And if you don't know, the white savior liberals who do that stuff, they're called Antifa. They go to BLM rallies to push the alphabet community, which of course the real white supremacists at the top in the alphabet community and the feminists, they own BLM organization anyway. The real white supremacists at the top also own the NAACP, which was actually made for immigrants. But anywho, before I go off in a tangent, where was I getting at? Oh yeah, so the only real way to be prepared and to be able to get through really anything that's gonna happen in the near future and going forward is seeking Yahweh's truth and getting to know Yahweh, because other than that, everything else is It's really like distractions has something to do with the Matrix, like these agendas that have been pushed throughout the years to have people falling into depressions and running around crying, talking about driving off of cliffs and unaliving themselves because they're chasing after these fake careers and matrix stuff like these jobs and becoming famous. A whole bunch of stuff that isn't real, and you really there's certain stuff you have to do to even get in those positions anyway that people don't want to admit they would have to do or fall victim to or be forced to do. Like, honestly, I really feel like I don't know if what I was going to say was about to make sense, but I just like I feel really bad for the people that are born into the families that are like already in these industries and bloodlines, and the people who are sold out by their parents into them. But commonly the people that are like that push themselves into these systems, they're like they have a lot of cognitive dissonance and are lying to themselves about what goes on in these industries. But either way, my point is people get depressed chasing these fake Hollywood dreams that really are non-existent anymore, especially with the system that's about to be rolled out to where pretty much nobody's going to have rights, regardless of people in either side of left, right, mind her crying about the other side and all that stuff. But anyway, my point is a lot of stuff is about to go down. Just like everywhere, but especially America in general, with the fall of the dollar and all those things, and a lot of people are about to get more depressed. And it's like, what I worry about are the people that I know or know of, I guess, that are already depressed and want to unalive themselves and have for years, because it's like, with the things that are about to start going down, if you're already depressed, then I mean, you're definitely at risk. And I also noticed that these people are sometimes people who are still chasing after this fame stuff and Hollywood mess. And to be truthfully honest, they commonly have like an anointing and a call in their life that they're running from, and so they keep chasing after a whole bunch of bullcrap that's not for them, people that aren't for them, and trying to stay around people that aren't for them. And that's another thing that's adding to them being depressed and wanting to unalive themselves. But yeah, I really do like worry about those people, because a couple people come to mind with this. And it kind of makes me think of something that I mentioned before when it comes to people that have been homeless already for 20 plus years. And it's like, if you're 50 and you've already been out here since you were 10, 9 years old, I kind of feel like you should have like made it a priority to really learn wilderness survival and all that stuff a long time ago. Cause I mean, people want to keep chasing after the false image of success, but it's not for everybody, and really, most people would never get to that, and you really don't want to anyway, cause then you go through even more traumatizing bullcrap that you're forced to do when you try to join the entertainment industry and all those other systems that go along with that. And the other thing I want to say is, dang, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. So going back to something I mentioned before, there's this one girl I know of who I mentioned before. I think I just said that. And so she had to escape her abuse situation, do the whole lay low till 18 thing, which is common regardless of what people want to think. Because people like, well, and I already have videos about this that I'll link when it comes to the truth behind missing people. And there's a different situation for really every quote unquote missing person. But people don't want to accept the reality of any of the situations that revolve around quote unquote missing people. But anyway, anywho, What was I about to say? Oh yeah, so she learned foraging. That's what I was getting at. She's also vegetarian or something, but you also want to learn hunting. And to be truthfully honest, you don't want to eat one of anything long term. That's never healthy. Like somebody like her would have like really serious oxalate dumping issues. And I even had that, and I really didn't even eat like a lot of fruits and vegetables throughout my life. But anywho, the point is, stuff like that is something that you want to learn. And I know, like, for one, it's the only thing you really have to do when you're in these types of situations. But she spent pretty much most of her time in libraries. That's what most people do in situations like this anyway. So, I mean, she was in the perfect situation to really learn foraging. But you also have to keep in mind that it depends on where you live. You're probably going to have to, like, have books for a couple different places, especially if you're traveling a lot. But you want to learn to remember stuff by heart, though, because something that I learned a long time ago is having a whole bunch of books that you're carrying around it's not it. It's really not. I just ended up giving some away. I was trying to sell them, but it wasn't working out. So, anyway. What was the other thing I wanted to say? I'm trying to remember what I said in the first part that I ended up just having to delete, and what I haven't said already in this one. So, 1, this is activated charcoal. This can be good for like a binder if you're doing a parasite cleanse or mold detox or detoxing from anything, but it's also good for purifying water. So I have this, and I have like some like coffee filters or something like that. This probably isn't even really visible, but you want things like this, and then this could be used for like cooking something, not a lot of anything, but to heat up some water at least. So you want to like boil the water, run it through the activated charcoal with this a couple times. I also got this like some years ago. I still haven't used it yet. I think I got this in like 2021, 2022. But yeah, this is a life straw. I'm not really sure how good they work, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So you probably want to like use these things too. Okay, something that I started off with in the last video but forgot to mention this go round or the second try is that you don't want to have a whole bunch of bullcrap you don't need. This is something to keep in mind. So like, give stuff to whoever needs it or sell it to them, but don't rack up in a whole bunch of bullcrap you don't need. And whenever you're about to like move to the next place, give stuff away. Do not try to keep it. Because I know some people that are really looking like hoarders right now that have gotten, well, no, because I didn't want to throw out all that, but they're back in a tent, but they don't really have a good spot, so they're more easier to rob. And also, they just have a whole bunch of bullcrap that they don't need and can't use. Like this one lady, I was like, why do you have somebody's blinds from their windows? Where'd you even get this? That was really, I still wonder about that. Because it's like, are you about to build a house somewhere? But, anyway. Oh yeah, so, another thing. In a real crap hits the fan situation, you're probably not going to be able to, like, stay in one spot anyway, so you really want to focus on what you actually need. Like I said before in other videos, when it comes to escaping an abuse situation under 18 or escaping the cash for kids system or whatever, if, not if, I don't know what I was about to say. When you leave, you only need a pair of clothes for when it's hot and one for when it's cold. You're not gonna wear 300 different things, and you have nowhere to put it. It's gonna be a lot to carry around, and eventually you're gonna be mad at yourself, and you're just probably gonna end up leaving a lot of stuff somewhere, which is what commonly happens. Almost choked. Which is what commonly happens when you like see these news articles or whatever about these homeless encampments where people just leave stuff places. It's because after a while you really can't carry a lot of stuff around, especially when your health is already like kind of screwed over. And commonly it will be after like leaving some of these situations. Like I said in another video, the Cash for Kids system, especially when it comes to like not even just, I don't know, the neglect or other types of abuse, but specifically the drugging thing that they like to do in the Cash for Kids system, that sets you up for all types of health issues. And if you escape that, your health probably, well, maybe won't be that good. Like, you may already have some issues that you know of, diagnosed or not. Like, for one, the drugs give you diabetes, at least when you're on them, but depending on your situation, you may be able to, like, just walk the diabetes off and the metabolic syndrome after you're let off the drugs, but that doesn't always work for everybody. And commonly when you do, even when you do get the diabetes from the drugs, they usually won't actually diagnose you with diabetes. And that's something I noticed like a lot with the health system. They play a lot of gaslighting games, and they really don't want to give people diagnoses anyway because they want you to be in hospice care confused eventually. In fact, I had got this email from Quest, and their statistics said that 80% of adults with diabetes are undiagnosed, and it's like, but how do you know that though? They do it on purpose. That's kind of irrelevant, but still though, you don't want to have a whole bunch of bullcrap. Even if you're one of those lucky people that has like one of those good vans that you can actually stand up in, like in the back of it, and you can put like a mattress in there, you still don't want to have a whole bunch of extra bullcrap you don't need. In fact, I've been saying if I knew how to drive, I would honestly like get a van if I also had the money for that, but I can't drive, so I don't even know how to crank up a car. In fact, I said this to somebody one time before. I was talking about how I don't even know how to crank up a car, and they were like, well, you haven't had to actually crank up a car in over 20 years. But that kind of confused me, though, because, like, are all cars push button start now? That kind of threw me off. Because, like, I don't know. I just wonder about that. But, anywho, what was something else important I needed to mention? Okay, so I already showed before in, like, this other video I have where I was still in my old tent that flooded, or my third to last tent. Wait, no, not my third to last tent. I don't even know, but I showed this that I had got from this resource center, at least they had bought it for me. Because at that point in time, quote unquote, they had funding for it from other nonprofits or something like that. Let me not go into that though. So, you need this because, like I've said before, when you like, what did I say before? Okay, so if you're in a tent, you're probably not gonna want to like always get out so you can like go use the bathroom somewhere. And it's kind of like, if you can't really see and it's dark and there's like snakes and spiders and mountain lions where you're at, even though I've been told that there's one mountain lion for every like 100 miles, like that's, I mean, now let me not go into that. So anywho, you may just not want to like let spiders into your tent, because that was a big issue, and I don't know how it would always happen, but it's like I open my door for 1 second and there's a tarantula inside. So you would want to use pee bottles. especially if you already have like health issues where you have to pee every 2 seconds, you're definitely going to need that. So, another thing with that is the bottle you want, you don't just want a regular water bottle. What you really want, you want, what are those called? Those sports ones. The big ones that are see-through, because that's what you also want. You want one that's see-through. You don't want something where you want to guess whether it's full or not, because that can cause so many bullcrap little accidents where, like, your tent is soaking wet. Not your tent. Well, I mean that too. But your sleeping bag is soaking wet. And then you have regrets. And even if it's see-through, that can still sometimes happen. You can, like, over pee in the pee bottle because you can't see because it's dark or whatever. But honestly, if you don't have to pee every 2 seconds, you probably won't even really have issues like that. But that happened to me a couple times. It's honestly pretty annoying. But what was the other thing? Oh yeah, so you want like at least 2 of those big sports bottle things that are like this tall. If you can even, is that visible? Wait a minute, no it's not. Okay, hold up. So like these 2, this honey put together, like this tall, you want 2 pee bottles that are this tall. Hopefully that's visible. And also you do want to wash them when you're able. But after a while you are going to have to get new ones, so keep that in mind. Don't accidentally drink out of them. Don't sit apple juice beside it. Luckily that never happened to me. I remember this one time somebody told me, you better not sit that apple juice down by your pee bottle. So yeah, anyway. Then there's this. I was keeping my notebooks in here because when my tent had flooded, well actually no, before my tent flooded, it started to like fill a little bit with water. And let me not go into that story, but I couldn't get the water out. So I was just like ignoring a little bit of, not, well, I was pushing through, I guess, because it was just really hard to take everything down and then like cut the strings off of the tarp. And if I would have cut the strings off, I didn't have any more snow, so I wouldn't have been able to get the tarp back up. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna ride this out. And there was a little bit of water in the back of my tent where I was keeping my notebook. It was these and this old abuse evidence binder that I still have a witness reports that I'm honestly just gonna throw away, which is this one. But anywho, all of that stuff had got wet and it got moldy, and then I eventually got a blow dryer. And so I was at the shelter because, of course, like I said, I was lying about my age so I could go there to like get the leftovers and stuff when they did have leftovers, and to just sit there and then shower there eventually. And so I got my blow dryer and I would go there and I was just blow drying my notebooks, and it took 3 days. I would go there because at that point in time the youth resource center that I used to go to for foster kids was barely ever open. So that's where I would go to like blow dry everything. Like so much of my stuff had got like kind of messed up, like this happened. But really, wait a minute. This is the abuse evidence binder thing that I'm throwing away, and this got really moldy. This got the most moldy out of anything, but it makes sense though because there's like a lot of paper in here. And so my point of saying all that is stuff like this, you don't just want it like sitting around in a bag like this. You want it in a trash bag, but a good trash bag. So I have my clothes and eventually my notebooks when I had like learned my lesson. I had my clothes and my notebooks in a bag like this. So like, oh, I had accidentally paused it because I was like, wait a minute, am I recording? So I had it in a bag like this. cloth, or like this, or even a regular book bag that, oh dang, wait a minute, I don't have that one anymore, but like this. And I would put it in, I almost fell, a trash bag like this. But then eventually I got this. And then I would put all this stuff in this same bag, and I just put all this whole thing in here. But I want to, like, of course, get rid of this for multiple reasons, and then try to get this stuff that I'm keeping in either this suitcase or that one, but I'm really trying to, like, get things down to one suitcase, and then just use this for things I'm carrying around at the moment, instead of having to, like, sit in somewhere with this in there. So, what point was I getting at? I guess that was it. But I feel like there's something I'm missing, because there probably is, as usual. Oh yeah, so kind of irrelevant, but you may want something like this. Honestly, if you're with like a group of people, you probably want walkie-talkies, but I mean, even that could be risky in like a crap hits the fan situation, I guess, because sometimes you can get on channels that you shouldn't be, or people can listen into yours, and you never know. Like with those trucker stories, and people are actually finally admitting that a lot of truckers, or some of them, they're like long-term, I don't know if I could say the word, but serial unalivers. And then they're trying to act like it's easier for them to get away with it because they're truckers, but that's bullcrap though, because the people that police never look for are always going to be the chomos, and it's always going to be the serial unalivers. Like, if you've ever lived in the hood or something, you know, the people who've committed all the unaliveness throughout the years, the police aren't looking for them. That was kind of irrelevant, but just wanted to put that out there. So this, heavy duty silicone waterproofer. So apparently this can work for shoes, tents. I don't really know what the bottom pictures are supposed to symbolize, but this is really good. And I made sure that, like, I got a smaller tent too, because I did get this like 4-person tent someone gave me, but I sold that because it's just too big. It's hard to really find a place to put a tent commonly unless you're like really deep in the woods, which is honestly what you want, but you want to make sure that you have like protection from animals and people. But really the thing about being deep in the woods is that there aren't a lot of people in there, especially when it comes to the homeless community, because they try to stay close to their schools, close to their jobs, or close to places to get food and showers. What was I about to say? I don't know, but it reminds me of something else I forgot to mention. So as I've said before, you want a 0-degree sleeping bag. These cost like $100, but they're my favorite type for obvious reasons. You don't want to set yourself up. You really don't. I did have this other type that I like to get, but I wanted to get something like more dark colors, or colors that could actually blend in with the surroundings. This is gray and green, but I mean, that could still possibly work. I really wish that I could like find one that's all green or all black. And then this. I think this is the same type of tent that I had got in like, I don't know, 2021 or whatever. Not gonna go into that whole situation, but the pole did eventually pop because I was staying on this mountain cliff thing and I had to move. and I was trying to take everything down really quickly, and then it popped. But this lasted a really long time. And that's the thing. Pole tents last, pop-up tents don't. I gave my pop-up tent away. Because for one, pop-up tents, at least for me, I really don't know how to actually put it back in its, like, case thing. And also, it's visible. It's really visible. Because, like, let's say you're moving to another spot, or you're just walking around or going to get something to eat or something. You put the pop-up tent back in its case, if you even know how. Which I think I've showed it before in some video, but it's round, so it's like a big circle, and it's very visible. What that lets people do is it lets people know the situation you're in, so it makes people either want to, one, call the police on you, two, it lets people know this is somebody that I could probably manipulate into being my moving sex slave, and you don't want that. So, the good thing about both of these is that these can both fit in a suitcase. And also, this is pretty small. This is a 2-person. And what a 2-person tent does is, for one, it keeps you from, like, scraping up a whole bunch of bullcrap you don't need. And two, it could possibly be completely covered with that bottle of tent waterproofing spray. Although I probably still do need, like, 2 cans of that. But this could maybe be mostly covered with that because it's pretty small. And that's one thing that I liked about having a smaller tent, is that when I had a smaller tent, I didn't somehow manage to gather a whole bunch of bullcrap that I didn't need because I didn't have room for it. So, this is a 350 lumens flashlight. I could have got a better one, but I mean, I honestly had the money for a better one. But the issue was, they're huge, and that will be something extra heavy. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how in the world I'm gonna put these somewhere. Because, like, this is one of the most important things. This isn't something I just want to leave somewhere. But I don't really think... I mean, I don't know. They could probably fit in the suitcase somehow. What's the other thing? Oh, yeah. And this stuff like this. I just will probably end up giving this away to somebody, to be truthfully honest. But then again, though, like, this is really good for making, like, some bread without yeast. So, I don't know. And then I have the probiotics. But, of course, I probably give most of this stuff away. Oh, my gosh. Ignore that. What was the other thing? But, yeah, that's kind of, like, the last thing I mentioned. So, I talked about before, like, how the different things that happened to me pretty much really messed up my health in a lot of ways. Also, living in